Okay, my name is Doug Lucas. You're watching Emerald Hill Skies from the outskirts of Louisville, Kentucky. Tonight we're going to try this again. Let's see if we can get everything arranged here. I'm going to see if I can get this started on my iPad right away so that I can make sure that we've got audio. Let's see, how did I do this the other night? Live. Oh boy. Here we go again. There we go. Now get this restarted so that I can make sure we've got audio. If you're watching already, if you happen to have tuned in, if you wouldn't mind telling me if the audio is good. Oh, look, there it is. Okay, we have audio. All right, let's get going. The other night we tried this remote desktop operating solution using an open source program called Rust Desk, I think it was. And you know, it was okay. There were a couple of little glitches, and our friend Pete over on the Isle of Wight suggested we try a different solution. Sure enough, this seems to be working better. It's called Splashtop. And Splashtop is put together by 4 engineers from Taiwan, and it seems to be working much better. So let's see how we do. We're going to go to our, let's see, we're going to go to our, wonder why that is blocking your sky view when I go to it. We'll get that figured out later. Let's try going to a first target here. Let's see what's up. What if we go to this galaxy? That one's already been observed. So let's do a sort. There we go. Let's try this galaxy. It is currently, let's try this sort list again. There we go. Here's one at 26 degrees. That wouldn't be bad. CR 464 Lund. It's an open cluster. Let's just hit that first. Okay, so we're going to go slew to the object. And there's your telescope in the lower right. You can see it's starting to move. There's the sky view. Okay, now we'll come here and we'll turn this off and we'll do a plate solve. Good. Almost a degree offset since it's our first object of the night. That's not bad. That's a nice sharp focus. Everything focused well in Nina tonight. Gorgeous. CR 464. This is object 941. Okay, and we're supposed to see a cluster, huh? An open cluster. wonder if we do a plate solve only, and then do a deep sky image annotation. And look here in our Sharp Cap DSA. And then paste custom object info in. There we go, so right on track. So thanks to Pete and the Isle of Wight for this cool EAA control panel that allowed us to grab that object from our Astro Planner list and then insert it into the Sharp Cap Deep Sky Image Annotation. So let's zoom in. That would be a very open cluster if it were the cluster that we're supposed to see. Do you think that's it? That's at 88%. So let's put that right in the middle of the frame, and just in case, we're also going to try our sequencer tonight. And we'll use it for prep for imaging only. And this is supposed to be CR464. And it's kind of like a dress rehearsal night, just to see how things are going. That did give us a lot more stars. Oh yeah. Okay, so it's funny, we don't have a double-headed arrow down there anymore in this live stacking window, which is kind of odd, isn't it? But it does, at least it does move. It moves our control, so that's good. You have to double click it to make it move them. We're getting pretty sharp images. But I wouldn't say, unless that's the cluster right there. Right there, huh? Right around in there. There's so many stars in this area that I'm not sure we would have called that a cluster. Would you? I don't think we would have. That's at 175%. Let's read about this real quick. It's object number 941. Object number 941. By the way, we're using 1001 Celestial Wonders to see before you die. 941. It says, Colander 464. So that's what the CR stands for. Colander. Because it looks like chromium when I first look at it. There's I hate clavin limb. What object is this? This is CR 464. Colander 464 is a fine small telescope target in Camelopardalis. You'll spot it roughly 7 degrees northeast of magnitude 4.3 alpha Camelopardalis. I hesitate to use that star as a guide because it's actually fainter. It's the only reasonably bright star. It's a large cluster that spans 2 degrees. Well, now that could be part of the problem. We're zoomed in too far. 2 degrees is about the width of our entire image here. So this whole thing is supposed to be a cluster, he says. Spans 2 degrees. Stars appear scattered with eastern and western sides sharply divided. Western section contains brighter stars. 5 brighter than magnitude 6.5. The 5 brightest stars in the eastern half range from 6 to 7. You know what we ought to do is go look at this in SharpCap. So we'll say, Stellarium. We'll say Stellarium sync, and then we're going to try to go over to Stellarium, which is right here. Stellarium sync, okay, there we are. Well, look at that. All this, let's put our field of view there. Boy, I tell you what, this is such an open cluster that it is so open, I don't think we would have called it a cluster. And why would we have to see this before we die? That's the question. Okay, so we're gonna do a quick observation. We're gonna say here that this cluster is so loose that it hardly comes across to us as a cluster at all. In our field of view, there are just tons of stars, but this cluster is 2 degrees wide. Remember that our field of view is 2 degrees by 1 1/4. So evidently the whole thing is a cluster. Seems larger than the whole field of view, right? Maybe a bit like the Hyades. I bet you're right. I hate cloud and limb. I bet you're right. Okay, let's go look at another object. Let's try a galaxy. This one's supposed to be at 29 degrees. We'll stop our, let's see, how do we get back to, here we go. Let's try going to this NGC 2336. NGC 2336. You know, I'm really happy with the way everything's working tonight. We have very fast response. It feels like our remote desktop software is working well. We have our controls now in a workable scenario. Okay, the scope seems to have settled. So let's go to do a quick plate solve. And then let's also do this plate solve only, just so it finds itself. Now let's go to prep for imaging only. And this is going to be NGC 2336. Boy, fast response. Everything started up well. We got our mount opened. We started CPWI with no problems. Nina's just focused lickety-split. opened up the sky view well, opened up our main camera well, Astroplaner zipped open, the control EACP little control panel opened, Stellarium opened, got our Pegasus power box software going. The broadcasting software seems to be working. Everything really worked well. Now you can see this galaxy right in the middle perhaps. Let's grab this bar. These are still a little bit of a learning curve for me. There we go. That one grabbed okay. But look how that one, I'm going to separate these a little more. Try to grab this one. See, why won't that let me grab it? There we go. These little controls down here are what you use to control your live stacking. Boy, we almost already have a nice view. You can see right there in the middle is our NGC 2336. So let's zoom into about 100% of our optical camera right there, and that's just after 120 seconds. Look at these flailing arms out here. Look at this dust trail. What a unique dust trail, just slices right. Now let's go into digital zoom and look a little bit closer. This is already after 2 minutes, 20 seconds. Now this galaxy is 10.4 magnitude, so this RASA 11 and live stacking together in SharpCap is really doing a good job capturing all this dust really quickly. This is very interesting trails here, dust trails that are blocking our view, obscuring the view of all those stars behind. It looks like this galaxy's been interacted with and gotten all mixed up, doesn't it? Would you say this is a top-down view? Like we're looking at the disk from the top instead of from the edge. And you can see these flailing arms, I think, have been interacted with. It's a moonless night. That really helps bring out these subtle nuances of these patterns, doesn't it? Let's read about this object. It's object number 19 in the 1001 Objects to See Before You Die. Number 19. A bright central region surrounded by an easily seen halo. Through a 10-inch telescope, you'll see the galaxy's bar. When you finish with, it doesn't say much about it. To me, this is a very rich target. The bar is right across here, see? Let's zoom in a little more. Wow, look at all of those arms. Able clusters. Yes, we have. Eli, good to see you. Yes, thanks, Eli. We're glad to have it up and running again as well. That USB fiber optic failure we had really threw us for a loop, but I'm really liking this remote desktop software solution a lot better. Why don't we go to Stellarium on this? Whoop, that's the wrong. No artwork whatsoever. Okay, we're going to have to go out to some kind of Hubble view of NGC 2336. Look at that. That's just after 5 minutes. What a remarkably complex system of arms. Looks like some kind of a science fiction monster, doesn't it? Let's see if we can get to, if we go here and then here, and then we say NGC 2336. Yeah, look at that. So this is that big stripe we saw. Wow. What a complex galaxy, huh? That's beautiful. We could make out an entire array of complex arms after just a couple of minutes. At first, they were so complex, it looked like an interaction with another galaxy had thrown it for a loop. But at 7 minutes, we could begin to see that there were at least 6 arms. Complex galaxy. Windy. You're saying yay because it's all working together, huh? Well, I feel the same. It's very exciting to have it working again. All right. Why don't we go to one more galaxy and then call it a night. Our purpose tonight was more just to, like a proof of concept, just to make sure we were up and running again. And then we'll call a clear night again when we really can promote the observing night and get the gang all back out again. How about that? Let's find one more object. I'm just kind of shopping here at what might be interesting. Something a little higher up in the sky. We went to an open cluster and then we went to a galaxy. What if we go to a globular cluster to finish things off? This is Palomar 12. I'm going to turn on the sound so you can hear the scope slew. So that's real time, the lower right, and you can hear the sound of the scope moving. It's a lot of fun to see everything working again, isn't it? Curtis, good to have you back. Thanks for visiting. We really hadn't promoted tonight. We were just trying again to figure everything out and get it all working. Okay, we'll turn off the outside sounds again so they don't compete. Let's plate solve. Again, I know you've been on the channel before perhaps, so you know that when we plate solve, we're comparing the night sky view through the scope with what the database says the scope should be viewing. And if they don't agree, the mount finds a solution to pull them into agreement so that our actual scope is lined up with reality. Okay, so once again, this is a case in which the object, Palomar 12, is not in the SharpCap list. So we'll use Pete's programming to take the information from AstroPlanner, and then back in SharpCap we'll insert it so that Palomar will show up. And right it is there. There it is right in the middle. So we're at about full. It's supposed to be a globular there, huh? You think that's it? Let's get rid of this deep sky image annotation, and then let's stack in case that globular this is Palomar 12. Boy, everything is just humming along. So in our description down below in the notes, we'll put the exact mini PC that we're using out in the observatory tonight. I think it's called a Fan Peak, but it's kind of not a main brand. But remember, I told you last time we wanted to buy a Prima Luce Eagle 6. They're top of the line. They were $3,500. And we already had a Pegasus power box which operated the DO controls for us anyway. And we were hard-pressed to think that it would be worth the extra $3,000. This Fan Peak cost $500. So I honestly like our setup really well. So that's supposed to be a globular cluster, huh? Does anybody see the globular cluster? Doesn't look very globular, does it? Is that it right there? Supposed to be. So that must be it. So it's kind of loose. Look at how it's sort of a boomerang shape. Pretty colors, huh? Some yellows and blues, bluish greens, I bet. I don't have great color vision, but I can see those. Let's look at this in the book. 688 is the object number. Curtis posted on Cloudy Nights that you were live. Thanks so much, Curtis. Oh yeah, that's okay. The moderators ended up thinking that I was kind of not following their protocols because I would try to promote our gatherings, and they thought you shouldn't promote anything. So, as you know, I was kind of banished and I haven't been able to be back since. They won't allow me on. Nice cluster, even distribution of similarly bright stars. Most shine at magnitude 12, but there are a few 10th magnitude gems peppering the cluster. 50 members. Wow, look at that. Right here. 50 members. Oh wait, might have been reading the wrong one. Palomar 12, a globular that lies more than 60,000 light years away. The Palomar catalog of globular clusters contains 15 faint objects discovered on the Palomar Observatory sky survey plates. You'll need at least an 8-inch scope to see this object. Even through a 20-inch scope, you'll see only an evenly illuminated glow. That's because the brightest stars in Palomar 12 glow around magnitude 15. Oh, and in some catalogs, you might see this object listed as Capricornus dwarf. In 1957, Swiss astronomer Fred Zwicky cataloged it as a nearby dwarf galaxy, a member of a local group. Other astronomers later confirmed its globular cluster status. How interesting. Well, you know, it looks like that this combination of 11-inch RASA with SharpCap doing deep sky image annotation, with SharpCap doing stacking, is actually not doing bad at all for us. Okay, so we'll do a quick observation here. Nice looking globular with faint 12 mag stars, lots of cool blues and greens. Okay, so what have we learned tonight? Well, I really like our new remote desktop operating software called Splashtop. There's a free version you can get, and it especially would be good if you're operating on the same Wi-Fi, which I think is going to be the case for most people who are looking for a mini PC desktop, remote desktop operating solution. I went on and subscribed for one main reason. I wanted to see if it would allow me to access the mini PC from other locations, and sure enough it does. Now, what I thought was interesting is that our IT guy here at our office, here at Emerald Hills, our IT guy has this network really locked down so that you can't remote into it with most software. But Splashtop has come up with a solution in which you allow the remote PC to log onto their site, and then the what would you call it, the host PC where you want to observe, that logs onto their site. And then they link together, and you get end-to-end encryption for whatever that's worth. Obviously, for stargazing, it wasn't very important that we have that, but you know, if you were using it for some kind of sensitive data, it would be important. And so this Splashtop allows me to see our mini PC from my house, which is a completely different location, or just the past few days I was out in Phoenix, I could log on, and I upgraded darks and flats on the mini PC out in the observatory from Phoenix. So it's really working well. Splashtop. It's about $5 a month. So for the cost of nowadays, most people pay that much for one coffee, I think. So skip one trip to Starbucks and you can afford Splashtop, what they call their pro level. And I'm really happy with it so far. We're ready now. Next time we'll go ahead and promote the observing as a regular Emerald Hills Skies event. And we'll hope to see you then. Thanks to the Lord for making cool objects like this one, Palomar 12, and looking at it in the night sky tonight with very little moon. A lot of fun. Got everything working again. Thanks to the Lord for helping us get through that, and thank you for stopping by. Thanks to our folks here that were here, even though we hadn't promoted things, they were just here because they saw it pop into their, I guess, YouTube screens, their YouTube lists. So thanks for hopping on, and we hope you have a good night. We'll look forward to seeing you back again real soon. Take care. Good night.